flipping through this little raggedy Bible that I have here.
Mommy.
Probably older than me. Yeah, it belonged to my grandmother, and as I was flipping through here, she seems to, throughout this entire book,
Can I touch a thing with that way?
underline the word Christ. And there's so many different things that are highlighted. And when I first opened it up, it was in Romans. And in Romans chapter 10, verse 13, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And we live in a world today that a lot of people are not going to call upon the name of the Lord. The world will tell you now that
Mommy is asking.
we're going on blind faith and that none of it's real.
Yeah.
We haven't seen God, therefore there is no God.
Yeah.
You know, I read often and I'm always searching through the internet and through different things, trying to find these miraculous stories of all these great things that have happened. And things that I can tie in with God. And it's hard to really find anything like that. You can find a story here and there, but it seems like a story like that is rare to this world.
Yeah.
But if you believe, and if you've been in the old regular Baptist as long as you have, as long as I have, not very long at all, I'm surrounded by a lot of believers.
That's right.
I'm surrounded by a lot of people that pray.
Yep.
I have not seen the face of God, but I have seen Him work.
That's right.
It's not just faith that drives me. There's a knowing in my heart that keeps me going. I've seen some of the most beautiful things that people would say are coincidence.
That's right.
But you know, coincidence just don't happen all the time. You know, I can remember being up in Kentucky and we were having a baptism on a rainy day like this. It was Chris Yates and his wife.
Yeah.
They both joined the church together and decided they want to be baptized together. And it was real pretty. They were going to walk out into the water hand in hand and meet Daryl and whoever else was with him out there in the water. And you know, we got there and it was still raining.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, well, Lord, everybody here is going to get wet.
Yep.
Not just the people being baptized. But you know, as they got down there and they rolled them up,
Yeah.
Brother Joe started to sing, and it seemed like just right up above us, the clouds broke for just a few minutes and the sun shined through.
Yeah. Come on.
You know, when they walked them out into that water and they dipped them down in, they baptized them there, and when they came up, everyone was shouting, everyone was hugging, and I'm still standing there looking out in that water as the breeze was coming through. And you know, right where they had baptized them, that breeze that came through and it took down a bunch of little flowers, a bunch of little petals that just came floating down through there, down through that water. And, you know, I seen that there and I thought, well, that's awful beautiful there. That's an awful pretty thing. And as those things kept going across the water, when they finally ceased, oh, there come the rain, and the sun went away. It seemed like the Lord had just gave us enough time to have a beautiful little baptism there.
Yeah.
You know, those things
Just
happen
touched
so
it.
often.
Yeah.
You know, I've
Just touch
seen
this one more time.
little things
Come on.
happen all the
Bless the
time.
Lord.
I've seen now, you know, with Rachel having those kidney problems.
Yeah.
And how the brothers
How many times?
laid hands on her, and then her next doctor appointment, the doctor couldn't explain
Couldn't
what was
figure it
wrong,
out.
how it was better. It just didn't make sense. Oh, it was just a miracle of her body, they would probably say. No,
Healed
sir,
itself.
that's not
Yeah.
what it is. You know what's funny? Last time you guys were here, I spoke about angels among us. And you know, when you left here that day, Rachel or nobody was with me. She was at home, and she had a cold there, and I stopped over here at the CVS, you know.
Come on,
After I
preach.
just got done preaching about that, I stopped over here and when I pulled in, I seen a man. He was standing out digging through the trash in front of CBS there. And I haven't seen somebody in such bad shape in my life.
Yeah.
You know, his shoes were busting off his feet. He had on 2 pairs of pants because the pair of pants that he had over top there, they were ripped so bad.
Yeah.
And you know, it had been still being a little chilly around that
it's
time. And you know, he had 2 different layers of shirts on.
Yeah.
But I could see every layer all the way to his skin from all the different holes in it. And you know, I thought to myself, you know, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to buy her medicine and I'm going to grab him some money because I don't carry much cash, but I knew inside that I could get a little bit of cash back. So I went inside, you know, I went in there and I bought what I was going to buy there, you know. And when I bought it, I came outside and I had $10. I had it in my pocket, and that man had walked up the hill here out in front of the road, and he had in his hand, and I work in the tobacco industry. I know that this isn't going to do much for anybody, but he had a little filter with just a little bit of loose tobacco out the end of it in his mouth, and obviously I found him a little lighter and was trying to light it, but it wouldn't light. And you know, the old devil creeped in on me right there, and I thought to myself, and so many people do this often, if I give him this money, he's not going to do anything to better himself or to help himself. What he's going to do is walk right in here to CVS and probably get him some cigarettes or walk down the road. Maybe that's what he's going to spend it on. So I took that money and I put it back in my pocket, and you know, I got in my car. And I was ready to take off, and you know, the tears, they just started to flow. I couldn't stand what I just done, so I took my car and I pulled over next to him there, and listen, he was standing up there watching the cars go by, and you know, he had been collecting pop cans out of that trash. He had it in an old Walmart bag. That bag wasn't even fit enough to hold all those cans that had holes, and these cans were coming out of it. But you know, I walked up to him and I said, "Sir, I want you to have this money. I seen you picking up those cans, and sir, I want you to know that I want you to take this and help yourself." And he looked at me, and it's the first time I ever got to see his face. And you know, I could tell that he had some problems there. I could see some problems with his face, but he just smiled at me and took that money, and he said, "Oh Lord, He will bless you for this." And you know, it just started burning right down in my heart, and I just looked at him and said, "I want you to know the Lord has already blessed me. He don't owe me nothing for giving you money. He don't owe me a single thing for what I've just done for you. Listen, you want to know what my blessing is? To think that somebody could take that money and help themselves. You know, growing up, I was the kind of little boy, when I was innocent there, that I would think about, I remember the first time I seen someone who was homeless. They were sitting out in front of a Walmart there, and they had a little sign that said, "We'll work for food." And you know, I was with my mom and one of her friends there as we were going in, and I said, "You know, what is this woman talking about? She wanted to work for somebody so she could have something to eat." And my mom explained that, she's a poor lady and she don't have no food. And you know, as we were walking through, we were walking in there in that Walmart, and I started grabbing everything off the shelf that I loved, because I didn't want to give this woman something, just any little thing. You know, I picked out my favorite snacks, and when my mom was telling me to put them back, I cried out. I said, "This woman out here don't have anything. Why would I put this stuff back?" And you know, she let me give them to them there, and I can remember, the feeling in my heart for being generous for somebody else. But this world, let me tell you, they can do things like that, and you know, all that's good. You help the poor, feed those who are hungry. That's all good things. But let me tell you, that still will not make you fit for the kingdom of heaven.
That's right.
No, sir, not at all. It will not make you fit to sit at my master's feet. Listen, let me tell you, back when they were crucifying Jesus, they took him up on that hill there, and on each side of him was two men on two crosses there. Three crosses up on that mountain. If you think about those men and maybe what they look like, or what people see them go by, you probably think the same thing about those two men. They're both thieves.
Yeah.
They're both criminals is what they are, up there next to another criminal that they call Jesus. You would have probably thought the same about those two men, but how different they really were. Listen, the one man had wanted to be saved. He wanted to be saved through Jesus Christ and gave everything over to him. But the other man, he wanted to be saved, but not in the same way that other man was. He said to the Lord, why don't you save yourself and save us? But the other man, remember me, Father, when you go into your kingdom. And on that day, he said, on this day,
Come on.
you will be with me in paradise. Listen, how close he was to death. And there's people playing roulette like that with their lives. You don't know when you're going to draw your next breath.
Right.
You don't know if you're going to wake up the next morning. There's people in this world right now, and it makes me so scared for people. When you have this rain going on like it is, there's going to be people out there driving too fast, and they're going to have a wreck. And some people, if they close their eyes in death, they're going to open them in anguish. They're not going to see the joys of heaven, because they refuse my Lord. My Lord is there, and He is merciful, and by His grace you can be made fit for the kingdom of heaven.
Right. By His grace.
I don't want to sound like a broken record here. I'm trying to go off a little here to something else, but there's still so many things on my mind. Listen, we talked about last weekend. It wasn't long ago that I was up in Kentucky, and my family, that I come from, we are separated by denomination. We're both old regular Baptists, but I'm a different kind, so therefore we cannot go to church together. Listen, they can't even hold prayer with me because of where I am and where I belong. But that's okay, because I'm telling you what, over in heaven's land, when I get there, I'm not going to say, where's Canaan Shore, regular Baptist church at? I'm not going to say, keep those Church of Christ people over there. No, there's not going to be a denomination where I'm going. There's not going to be a separation. There's going to be those who are saved by the blood of the Lamb, that have that blood written of Jesus' name on their bond. Listen, if I talk to another person, and they talk to me about church, and they say, I don't go to church because I don't have to. I don't know what I'll do. Why in the world would Jesus come and bring forth this new way? When they talk about His bride, some people want to tell you He was married, and they want to go off and try to make their own explanations. My Lord, He was married to the church. Why would He bring it here if we are not to go? Why would He say, where two or more may gather, there I'll be. Listen, if you're going to sit at home on a Sunday, sit on your couch, lay in your bed, what are you doing for my Lord? Listen, to try to earn, His love for, listen, a little bit of salvation. And it's kind of funny how, He was a carpenter by trade, and He knows that nails is what holds the foundation of a house together. There, it's nails that hold boards together. It's nails that hold these pews together. And it was nails that held my salvation up on a cross. It was 3 nails that pierced my Lord. Maybe one day when I leave this world that I'm going to be in heaven's land. And you know, I was talking to my grandfather last time I was in Kentucky, and I said, you're going to have to go to church with me now. You're getting old, and you don't know when you're going to go. And you know, that's that sounds like a rude thing to say, but you just have to know how we talk to one another. And he just laughed and said, you know, I'm going to go with you one day, just not this weekend. And you know, I come home, and maybe it wasn't even a week later, I get a phone call, and they said, Shad, your grandfather's been in a wreck, and we don't know how he is. And I started thinking to myself, Lord God, won't you spare him over till I can find out what's wrong? Lord God, just spare him just a little bit. Dear Father, that maybe I can talk to him, that maybe I can go see him there. And it turns out, I'm guessing, they said he might have had a little bit of a seizure while he was driving. And you know, it took him off the road and he wrecked into another car. And you know, my heart was burning, my heart was heavy. Listen, when I was a little boy, let me tell you, and I've learned a lot of things from this man. When I go somewhere, just like the last time you were here at church with me, there's not a lot of men, and this is just men. I'm not talking about the women that like to take their kids everywhere they go. Listen, you know, if you can keep them home and keep the burden of having to get them in and out of cars, some men will do it. But listen, my grandfather, every time that he had somewhere to go, he would say, Shad, you going with me? And he knew that taking me meant he's going to have to buy me something. He's going to have to deal with me grabbing things off the shelf, but he didn't care. I was his little passenger with him everywhere he went. And you know, we would go places, and he would always take me hunting with him. And if you're up from East Kentucky, you know a lot about what we call coon hunting. And you know, we would scale these mountains, drive way up in these mountains so far off, and let these dogs loose. And they would go, and they would find a coon there, and they would tread, and they would begin to bark, and we would have to scale that mountain there to get to where that tree was. And you know, being a little boy, he took me every time that he went, and he would take me with his friends, and every time we would go, they would sit there, brothers from the church, and they would sing, as we're driving along, and then they'd take a little break and listen for the dogs, and then they'd sing some more church hymns. They would discuss the Bible and bore me to death. Well, listen, you know, when we would go scale that mountain, being a little boy that I was, listen, I would get tired. The thorns would get a hold of me, and I would cry out. He would say, come on, and put me on his back and carry me for what I thought seemed forever, just to get to where it was, and then he'd carry me back down. That's the kind of man that I remember, but that's not the man that's laying up in that bed right now. Listen, when I would talk to him on the phone, you know, on his side of the family, you've heard me talk about this before, and I'm afraid that one day it might have passed on to me. That family there, mine, they live to be pretty old, unless some accident may take them out of this world here naturally. So they live for quite a long time. All my grandparents there, except for my grandmother, my great-grandparents, 90 years old, close to 100, some of them. But you know, one thing that always got to them, they started losing their minds. They started forgetting who people were. Me and my grandfather, I can remember being a little boy going over to a little woman's grandmother's house, who was my great-grandmother, his mother, and you know, he would say, Mommy, do you know who I am? And she would say, no, I have no idea who you are. Could you imagine what that's like? To go to your mother and father and say, do you know who I am? And for them to say, no, I don't know who you are. That you know, that's just the way of this world. And you know, but one thing that she never failed to mention when we would talk to her, and she didn't know who I was, and she didn't know who he was, but she remembered a man named Jesus that she told us all about. Ain't that funny how you can forget yourself, you can forget your children, your husband, you can forget your wife, but one thing you don't forget is your Savior who hung upon a cross by 3 little nails there, who shed his blood that maybe one day you can be with him in paradise. But you know, my heart was still heavy when I would talk to him there. You know, I thought about the first thing, and you know how people say you can see your life just flash before you there. I'd see my whole childhood flash before me when they told me he was in ICU, laying in that bed. And you know, when I talked to him there, he didn't know who I was at first, but it started clicking, and he started talking to me, and you know, he kept mistaking the nurses for his granddaughter, my little cousin Kate. Every nurse that would come in, he'd call him Kate, and he didn't even know who they were. But you know, one thing that was burdening my heart so bad, what if one day I say Daddy, and he was my dad for as long as I can remember. I didn't grow up with one, but he stepped in and was more of a father than I'll ever need. And you know, I was thinking, what if I go to him someday soon because of this accident, and I say, Dad, do you know who I am? And he looks at me and he says, no. What if one day he forgets his little passenger, the little boy that went everywhere with him? What if he forgets the little boy that grew up listening to him sing those songs? What if he forgets that little boy that used to break his heart all the time? God, but listen, you know, one thing I know for sure is that man, no matter how we are separated by denomination, I don't believe that people who separate from us, I don't believe that they're necessarily going to hell or anything like that. I believe there's still a spot in heaven for all of us there. I believe they're just doing what they think is right. And when I cross over in that other land, he's going to look right at me and know who I am. It's not going to be a place where he's going to know me one minute and forget me the next. It's going to be a place, and I seen where a writer was talking about, could you imagine a place with no sickness? Could you imagine a place with no heartache? That's what this world needs to be. This world will never be any of those things. But heaven's land, that's what will be. No sickness, no heartache, no jealousy, no hate. All the things that make this world what it is. And it seems like every passing year. And I grew up in the heart of the Bible Belt. And you can pretty much say, if you've ever been in East Kentucky, that is pretty much the heart of it. There's a church on every corner. Probably every different denomination there, except for maybe Mormons. I think there's one of them up there. But I was never exposed to what this world really is for the longest time, because everybody I knew, all the older men that I knew, all the older women with their hairs in a bun. My grandmother the same way, always had her hair up in a bun. My grandfather always preaching in an old hot church house, full of people. I'm talking a big church house, and every seat was filled, people standing. I can remember those old union meetings. I can remember those brothers. Sometimes one would get so blessed and the other would stand up, and there'd be two preaching up and down the aisleways. There'd be a guy preaching over here in the corner, and I thought those people were crazy. But those are some of the smartest people I've ever met. I'll give way here. I've stood too long.
Done well.
Let Brandon come.